Hey guys, I'm back with another crazy video and yeah, I'm gonna draw Disney princesses but cute version. So if you guys don't know the story of these princesses, you're welcome cause I'm gonna explain the story. So let's get into the video. Okay, story time. So once upon a time in the golden sands of the desert, there was a magnificent city called Agrabah. At the heart of this bustling place stood a grand palace, surrounded by tall towers and lush gardens. In this palace lived a young woman named Jasmine, the daughter of the Sultan. She was not only beautiful with long dark hair and eyes like warm brown velvet, but also intelligent, kind, and curious about the world beyond the palace walls. Jasmine lived a life many would envy. She wore fine silk gowns, dined on the most delicious foods, and had her every need cared for. But despite the luxury, Jasmine felt trapped. Her days were filled with rules and her future had already been decided for her. As tradition demanded, she was to marry a prince, someone chosen not from love but for status. Yet, Jasmine dreamed of something more: freedom, adventure, and the chance to choose her own path. One quiet evening, Jasmine disguised herself in simple clothes and slipped out of the palace for the first time. She wandered through the market, amazed by the colors, music, and laughter. But city life was not always kind, and soon she found herself in trouble until a clever young man came to her rescue. Of course, it's Aladdin. Well, Aladdin was a poor but good-hearted man who lived in the streets of Agrabah. Though he had little, he was rich in spirit, brave, kind, and full of dreams. He showed Jasmine kindness without knowing who she truly was. In just a short time, Jasmine and Aladdin felt a deep connection, as if they had known each other forever. But their meeting was cut short, and Jasmine was taken back to the palace. Her heart ached for the boy she had met, but royal duties called once again. Meanwhile, Aladdin stumbled upon a magical lamp deep within the cave of wonders. Inside the lamp lived a genie, a joyful, powerful being who could grant 3 wishes. With his first wish, Aladdin asked to become a prince, hoping to win Jasmine's heart and return to her side. Disguised as Prince Ali, Aladdin arrived at the palace in a grand parade. He was greeted with curiosity and admiration, but Jasmine was not easily impressed. She longed for honesty and sincerity, not jewels or titles. Still, she saw something familiar in this prince and slowly began to fall in love, only to later discover the truth. He was the boy from the market and he had lied about who he was. Hurt, yet still in love, Jasmine faced a difficult choice. Around them, danger was rising. The royal advisor Jafar sought to take control of Agrabah using dark magic and the power of the genie. Jasmine, courageous and strong, refused to be a pawn in his plan. She stood her ground, protecting her father and her people. So, in the end, it was not power or wealth that saved Agrabah, but love, bravery, and truth. Aladdin defeated Jafar not with force but with cleverness and courage. He set the genie free, choosing friendship over the fortune. Seeing his honesty and heart, the Sultan realized that true worth isn't measured by birth or gold. He changed the law so Jasmine could choose her own future. Jasmine and Aladdin, now free to be together, stood side by side, not just as lovers, but as equals, ready to lead Agrabah into a new, brighter era. And so, the princess who once felt caged found her wings. The street boy found his place, and together they lived, not just happily ever after, but wisely, freely, and boldly ever after. Okay, so here we go, cute Jasmine. Okay, so here comes my favorite princess, Moana. So, a long time ago, in the heart of this Pacific Ocean, there was an island called Matune. It was lush and beautiful, surrounded by the turquoise waters, and home to a proud and peaceful people. Among them was a young girl named Moana, the daughter of Chief Tui and heir to the island's leadership. From the time she was little, Moana felt the ocean calling to her. She was drawn to the waves, fascinated by the sea's endless horizon. But her father insisted that their people did not leave the safety of the reef. Everything you need is here, he would say. The ocean to him was dangerous and unpredictable. Even so, Moana's heart was full of wonder and longing. Her grandmother Tala, who was known as the village's storyteller and keeper of ancient ways, saw the spark in her. Tala believed that Moana was destined for something more. She told her the forgotten stories of their ancestors, how their people were once voyagers who sailed the vast ocean discovering new lands in great canoes. But something had changed long ago. A darkness began to spread across the ocean. The fish became scarce, the crops began to fail, and the island started dying. The source of this curse was the theft of the heart of Tefiti, the goddess who had created life itself. It was stolen by Maui, a demigod known for his tricks and strength. He thought he was doing good, but without the heart, balance was broken and the darkness grew. When Moana was older and the island began to suffer the same fate, she could no longer ignore the call. Guided by her grandmother's wisdom and her own courage, she set out on a journey to restore the heart to Tefiti and bring life back to the ocean. Her grandmother gave her the glowing green stone, the stolen heart, and with a tearful goodbye, Moana sailed beyond the reef alone. Out on the vast ocean, Moana faced many challenges. Storms tested her strength, her own fears whispered doubts, but she pressed on, eventually finding Maui, the demigod who had stolen the heart. He was proud, boastful, and reluctant to help. He had lost his magical fish hook, the source of his powers, and was haunted by his past failure. Reluctantly and with much arguing, the two became partners on the journey. Moana was determined, and Maui, though stubborn, slowly began to see her strength and heart. Together, they battled coconut pirates called the Kakamora, journeyed to the realm of monsters, and faced the greedy, glittering crab Tamatoa to reclaim Maui's hook. As they grew closer to Tefiti's island, Maui tried to teach Moana to sail and harness their inner strength. But when they confronted Tika, a fiery lava monster guarding the island, their mission nearly failed. Maui's hook was damaged and he left discouraged. Moana, now alone again, felt broken. She cried to the ocean, questioning why she had been chosen. But in a calm moment, the spirit of her grandmother appeared. Tala reminded her who she truly was, not just the daughter of the chief, but a voyager, a leader, someone brave enough to face the darkness. With renewed courage, Moana returned to the ocean. She faced Tika once more alone and without Maui's help. But as she approached the place where Tefiti should have been, she saw something strange. Tefiti was gone. Then she looked closely at Tika, and in a flash of insight, she understood. Tika was Tefiti, transformed by anger and pain after losing her heart. Holding the stone high, Moana walked calmly toward the dragon monster. "Let her come to me," she told the ocean. As Tika rushed toward her, Moana stood still and sang softly. "I know your name. They have stolen the heart from inside you, but this does not define you. This is not who you are." She replaced the heart back into Tika's chest. In an instant, the monster melted away and the beautiful life-giving goddess Tefiti emerged. Green spread across the land once more and life returned to the ocean. Maui came back to apologize. Tefiti forgave him and he received a new hook. Moana, having restored the balance, returned to her people, but something has changed. She told her village to work again. They built new canals, found old paths across the sea, and became wayfinders once more. Moana became not only a chief, but a true leader of her people, one who listened to her heart and followed the call of the ocean. And the ocean, which had chosen her long ago, was always with her. Oh my god, she's really cute. I love this one. Okay, so the next princess is gonna be Cinderella. I love Cinderella as well. Okay, so story time. Once upon a time, in a quiet little kingdom, there lived a kind and gentle girl named Cinderella. She was the daughter of a nobleman and her life was once full of warmth and laughter. But everything changed when her beloved mother passed away. Not long after, her father remarried a proud and cold-hearted woman who had two daughters of her own. They were elegant in appearance but cruel in spirit. Cinderella tried her best to be kind to them, hoping to become part of the family. But when her father also died suddenly, the stepmother showed her true nature. She forced Cinderella to do all the housework, sweeping the floors, scrubbing the walls, and serving her stepsisters day and night. Her clothes became tattered, her hands rough, and her once bright room was replaced by a cold attic. Though life was hard, Cinderella never lost her kind heart. She spoke kindly to the birds in the trees and the mice in the attic, treating them as friends. They in turn loved her dearly and helped her in small but meaningful ways. One day, an announcement echoed throughout the kingdom. The king was hosting a grand ball at the palace and every young maiden was invited. The prince was to choose a bride and hope stirred in every heart, even Cinderella's. Her step-sisters were thrilled and for days they talked of nothing else, choosing gowns and jewelry while mocking Cinderella for even dreaming of going. Still, she helped them prepare curling their hair and stitching their dresses with care. When the evening came and the carriage rolled away with her stepmother and stepsisters inside, Cinderella stood alone in the garden, her heart quietly breaking. Suddenly, a soft light shimmered in the night and a kind old woman appeared, her fairy godmother. Seeing Cinderella's sorrow, she gently touched her shoulder and said, "You shall go to the ball, my dear." With a wave of her wand, she turned a pumpkin into a shining carriage, mice into horses, and Cinderella's ragged dress into a gown of shimmering silver and glass slippers that sparkled like stars. But there was one condition. She must return before midnight, when the magic would vanish. Cinderella arrived at the palace, and when she entered the ballroom, everyone turned to gaze at her. She was so radiant that even her stepmother and stepsisters didn't recognize her. The prince saw her and was captivated. He asked her to dance, and for the rest of the evening, they were inseparable. As the clock began to strike 12, Cinderella remembered the fairy godmother's warning. She fled the ballroom, her heart racing, leaving behind only one glass slipper on the marble staircase. The next day, the prince set out across the kingdom with the glass slipper, determined to find the mysterious girl. Every maiden tried it on, but the slipper fit no one. Finally, he arrived at Cinderella's home. The stepsisters tried to squeeze their feet into it, but it was no use. The Cinderella stepped forward. Though her stepmother protested, the prince insisted. The slipper slid perfectly onto her foot, and in that moment he knew he had found his princess. Cinderella's life changed forever. She forgave her stepfamily, though they were ashamed of how they had treated her. With grace and kindness, she moved forward, marrying the prince in a beautiful ceremony. Their vows rang throughout the land. And so, Cinderella, once a girl with a skirty face and a pure heart, became a beloved princess. She and the prince ruled with wisdom and compassion, and her story lived on. A timeless reminder that courage, kindness, and hope can lead to the most magical of endings. And here we go, cute Cinderella. So, okay guys, that's it for the video and hope you guys enjoyed, and let's see from the next video. Bye!